A vacationing family realizes that the isolated beach where they're vacationing for a few hours is speeding up their aging process, thus compressing their whole lives into a single day. Talk about a short vacation. Well, this one might be their shortest. Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we'll be going through the 2021 thriller film Old. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The Kappa family, which includes parents Guy and Prissa, as well as their children Maddox and Trent, arrive at a posh resort for a family holiday. When they enter the resort, the manager directs them towards an attendant who brings them cocktails based on their preferences. She also tells the kids that they have a drinking fountain for them too. The kids ask their parents if they can go, and the parents say they can. Prissa looks at Guy and tells him that she can't believe they found such an amazing place online. When the kids reach the fountain, Trent meets a little child named Idlib who tells Trent to mix the vanilla and strawberry. He also tells Trent that his uncle is the manager there. Trent then tells the kid that he can do a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, and Idlib tells him that he likes to collect conch shells and has 42 of them. As they settle into the room, the kids change into their swimsuits and say they want to go to the beach. Guy jokingly starts to read the instruction manual and tells the kids that they are not allowed on the beach and that there's no Kids Week. The kids start to playfully wrestle with their dad as their mother looks on with a sad look on her face. On the beach, Idlib and Trent meet, and the two engage in different activities, such as asking other resort guests what their names and professions are, and Idlib gives Trent a unique code to read communications. Idlib asks Trent to tell him something he can't do. Trent replies that he can't do a push-up, and Idlib tells him that he doesn't have any friends. Trent then says that his mom will allow him to FaceTime him and that they can become neighbors. The two then start playing. Meanwhile, Guy and Prissa talk about how this is simply one more trip they want to offer the kids before they divorce, which is complicated by Prissa's stomach tumor. Guy doesn't want to get a divorce. He says that they should think about the future, which makes Prissa angry, and she says that he's always thinking about the future. As their parents argue, the kids sit together and listen from the other room. Then a scene is shown of two people on the beach. The girl starts to take off her swimsuit, and the man looks on as she goes into the water. At breakfast, Charles, a middle-aged doctor, sits with his younger vain wife Crystal, daughter Kara, and his mother Agnes. The Kappa family is also seated there. Suddenly, they hear some plates shattering and see that Patricia is suffering an epileptic seizure, which Charles assists with as her husband Jaron also attempts to help. After Patricia recovers, she apologizes for ruining everyone's breakfast, and her husband jokingly says that she always wants to be the center of attention. Trent also notices Idlib, who he had planned to meet up with later that day, but the resort manager orders him to leave. Later that day, Charles and his family, as well as the Kappas, board a vehicle that transports them to a private beach. They take all their things from the car and start walking towards the beach as the attendant that brought them here leaves. The group has to walk through a wooded area, which then opens up to a small pathway between a couple of large rocks. They finally arrive to see a breathtaking view of the beach. Prissa smiles and says that she almost felt some chills as the sight was so breathtaking. Crystal takes off the sheet around her stomach and starts to take pictures of herself while Prissa lies back and starts reading a book. She even asks Guy to tell her about the book she is reading, but Guy says that he doesn't know. Guy is about to say something, but he decides against it and says that he will tell it to her later. Meanwhile, Agnes takes Kara for a run into the water. Maddox recognizes mid-sized Sedan, a rapper who was previously observed skinny dipping with a female partner. The kids start to play together as the adults sit and relax on their beach chairs. The girls come across ancient dolls buried in the sand, abandoned by other children. Maddox calls her mom and says that she has found rusted spoons from the hotel, and her mother tells her that she should put them down as she could become infected. Trent is swimming near a cave when he comes upon a dead body floating in the water. It is the girl that was with Brendan. She appears to have drowned. While the grown-ups investigate the body, the kids are taken away. Brendan then walks towards the group, and he is seen suffering from nosebleeds. He is also seen similarly taken aback by his companion's death. Brendan is suspected of foul play by Charles despite the fact that he claims the woman just went for a swim and never returned. While lying on the sand, Agnes says that her stomach feels funny, and Crystal says that they should have taken the yacht like she recommended, and that Charles should not have argued about it. Guy continues to talk to Brendan, and he says that he didn't do anything as the girl was into him. Charles then comes and says that there's no service and that they need to keep an eye on Brendan and the body. He just says this when a new couple arrives on the scene. Brendan tells them that they need to get the people from the resort, but Jaron and Patricia say that their transporters are already gone. Suddenly, Crystal comes on the scene and tells them that something is wrong with Charles's mother. Jaren says that he is going to go back to the woods to get help, but when he walks towards the rocks, he suddenly blacks out, and when he wakes up, the people around him tell him that he passed out. Prissa then comes up to the doctor and tells him that she knows he's dealing with a lot, but something is wrong with her son. Suddenly, someone calls that Agnes is not breathing. Charles tries to resuscitate her as his wife says she didn't do anything and that Agnes just stopped breathing. Charles fails to revive her mother and then sadly says that she saw a murder and her heart just couldn't take it. Something strange begins to happen to the youngsters as well. Brendan tells the adults that the woman he was with had multiple sclerosis while he had hemophilia, which explains his nosebleeds. Jaren and Patricia speak with Trent and Maddox, who have grown into pre-teens, as well as Kara. Prissa can't seem to recognize her own children, which starts to worry the kids as well, and they rush to hug their parents. Seeing all this, Brendan tries to make a run for it as Charles chases him, but the moment they reach the cave formed by the rocks, both of them get severe headaches and they pass out. When they wake up, Brendan asks how they got there, and they tell him that they brought them out. Several efforts are made to escape the beach by passing through the rocks that separate it from the rest of the world, but all of the adults who try to cross through experience a pounding in their heads before blacking out and returning to the beach. They also observe odd occurrences, such as how the slash mark on Brendan's arm healed in seconds when Charles struck him with a knife. Soon after, Brendan notices that the woman he was with has completely decomposed into nothing but bones in just a few hours, indicating that something time-related is going on the beach. Prissa's stomach tumor begins to cause her pain and discomfort all of a sudden. The adults try to aid her by feeling around for the tumor, which they initially described as being the size of a golf ball. They proceeded to operate on the tumor, which had grown to the size of a cantaloupe. Prissa's abdominal wound heals quickly after the treatment is complete. Trent and Kara are becoming teens and young adults. Furthermore, Kara has grown 5 months pregnant in a matter of minutes, presumably after having sex with Trent minutes earlier. The adults prepare for the delivery, which occurs rapidly, but the infant dies a minute later owing to a lack of care. The other adults begin to display more noticeable signs of age, but Crystal is having a far more difficult time with it than the others. As a result of his schizophrenia, Charles begins to lose his mind, causing him to stab Brendan to death. While trying to come up with a different escape strategy, the others take his weapon away. Jaren tries to swim to locate a way out because they can't go through the rocks. While this is going on, Trent and Maddox come upon a notebook left by a previous guest which contains a list of names and medical problems. They also detect what appears to be people watching them from afar. Maddox inquires of Prissa about the possibility of her and Guy breaking up. Prissa admits to having a relationship with another guy. Despite Prissa's attempts to explain herself, Maddox is enraged. She rushes to the shore and tries to be brave to find a way out on her own, but she discovers Jaren's body, who had evidently passed out and drowned. Patricia had a deadly seizure when she sees the body. Kara then urgently tries to find a way out by climbing up the rocks, but before she can get high enough, she blacks out and falls to her death, leaving Trent distraught. It's now dark outside. Charles has gone completely insane, and Crystal is also losing her mind due to her rapid aging and deteriorating physical condition as she's grown a calcium hump on her back. Guy's vision is deteriorating, and Prissa's complexion has become noticeably grayer. Guy and Prissa discuss the other man in Prissa's life, with Guy confessing that he was aware of him and wishing that he had done more to keep their marriage together, but he also points out that the other guy is a loser and that she deserves more. When Trent and Maddox try to gaze at her, Charles begins to fight Guy and Prissa while Crystal attacks Trent and Maddox. She follows them into the cave where her body is twisted and distorted into horrifying positions before she dies. After that, Prissa cuts Charles with a rusted knife, causing an infection that quickly spreads throughout his body and kills him. The Kappa then congregates at the beach and around the bonfire. Guy is now frail and has trouble speaking and remembering things, but right before he dies, he acknowledges to Prissa that he still loves her. Prissa then rises for a brief period before collapsing and dying by Guy's side, leaving both children to grieve their parents. Trent and Maddox are now in their 50s in the morning. Trent recalls a code given to him by Idlib, which he decoded and deduced to mean, "My uncle dislikes coral." The twins notice a nearby coral reef and understand that it must be their exit. Maddox's shirt gets snagged on the coral as the two swim out of there. When the two don't show up, Theo, the van driver who transported the families to the beach, reports to his superiors from his observation station on a rock above the beach that all members of Trial 73 have died. When Theo returns to the resort and visits a lab area, it is revealed that the resort is a front for Warren & Warren, a medical research team that attracts people with medical conditions to the beach in order to conduct clinical trials for life-saving drugs, which are given to them in the welcome cocktails. They know that the mysterious beach accelerates the aging process, so they extend the experiments to a whole day in order to achieve better results. They think they healed Patricia's epilepsy since she went 8 hours without having a seizure, which is nearly 16 years on the beach. Trent and Maddox, who managed to free themselves from the coral, halt the resort manager and others from poaching their newest victims. Trent locates a man he chatted with as a child and recognizes him as a police officer. He offers the guy the diary he found on the shore, which contains the names and medical conditions of many missing persons. Even as an adult, Idlib comes out and recognizes Trent. Trent and Maddox tell everyone the truth, and the entire resort staff understands they're doomed. Authorities arrive to arrest all the resort staff, and in the closing scene, an officer takes Trent and Maddox away from the island by helicopter to live with their aunt. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.